Today I'm working on the greetings Kattis problem. Now that Snapchat and Slingshot are so 2018, the teenagers of the world have all switched to the new hot app called BAPC, Bidirectional and Private Communication. The app has some stricter social rules than previous iterations, blah blah blah. Basically, we're given a string of the form hey and print the greeting you would most likely respond with twice the e's. So we're just doubling the e's. Now, there's more than one way to skin a cat, as they say. So I'm going to show you the right way to do it, and then I'm going to show you another way to do it, which was much more difficult, and just to show you that, if you know what you're doing and you know the Python commands, you can make things much simpler. The Python functions, excuse me. So there's a replace function in Python 3, and you can very easily, in 1 or 2 lines of code, just replace any occurrence of a character, like E, with double E. So no matter how many times it appears in the word, it'll replace 1 E with 2 E's. And then after this, I'm going to show you the way I did it with brute force. That still works, but it's much less efficient. And here I'm just making it even more efficient from 2 lines of code down to 1 line of code. So we can just directly print the input.replace 1E with 2 E's. Look at that. 1, 2, 3, like 5 words, 1 line of code. It's so simple, so easy. Now let's take a look at this other way I did it. I used a hey input, and then a new hey as a empty list, and then for character in variable hey, if the character equals E, then I'm going to append the new list with a double E. So much more difficult, and yes, it works. It's using all these things we don't really need. Okay, so now let's code this in C++. Using the built-in getLine method to read in cin into the hey variable, which is how you read in string input, and then defining variables, integer variables for position and index, and then string variables for E and double E. That's not what I did though. And also at the top, you'll notice I include IOStream and include string, because I'm going to need the string module in my while loop where I use the find method. So this is part of include string. So while the index is hey.find, the arguments of the find method are my variable, which I've defined as the letter E, and the position. So what we're finding is what index E occurs at within the constraint. Then what we're going to do is replace whatever index we're at with the replacement string str, which is a double E. And then at the end of the loop, I want to increment my index by 2, not 1. Otherwise, we're going to add infinite number of E's, right? Because we've got to sort of leapfrog over the E that we just added. And then at the end of that while loop, once it's done replacing all the E's with double E's, it will see out the new hey variable. So now I'm ready to code the same problem in Java, and I'm going to start out by importing the Java utility scanner class so we can use that to read in user input. Call it public class greetings with public static void main. This is creating a new object using the scanner class. What I'm calling, and you could call it anything. You could call it SC is kind of popular just as an abbreviation of scanner. You could call it scanner greetings. Call it whatever you want. And then new scanner, so it's creating a new instance or new object of the scanner class, and it's not a set variable. The variable is going to be whatever the input is. So that's why system.in is in parentheses there. So now I'm going to define string variable hey, and then read it in from the user input. So first I want to look up, can I do this using the same method as I did in C++, where I just search for a substring within a string and then replace it. Let's see if there's just a Java replace method, because we don't want to make this more involved than it needs to be. If it's a one-line code and we can get away with that, then that's what we want to use. But it looks like the replace code of the replace function in Java is for, you can use it replacing strings with strings or old character with new character, but you can't replace a string type, or you can't replace the character type with a string type. So it's not going to work because we're replacing one E with two E's. In C++, it didn't matter if the string variable was only one character long. In Java, it does. It will force you to define one character as a char type variable. So this looks promising. A string buffer. Add a character in any position to a string by using string buffer in Java. So this looks like a new class that we can import. And you can append a string at any index with a new character. So let's try this. And so what we'll do is have a string buffer, which is the actual word you're manipulating. I'm going to use their example as a guide here. And so I have my scanner class still, which we will use to read in the initial hey of however many linked E's. And then I'm going to import Java language all models. Really all I need is the string buffer, but we'll just follow this example here. And then I'm going to create a new variable, or a new object, string buffer hey is a new object using the string buffer class. So let's see if we can do this by just completely skipping over the scanner method and just using string buffer, because that would seem to be easier. And then creating an integer length for this variable, integer I for my counter variable, character E is just the letter E. So whatever hey is input, that's read into a character array called hey array. And then within the for loop, if the character encountered is the letter E, we're going to insert a letter E, which is from the character array char E at that index. And then if it's not, then we go to the else statement. If the letter is an H or a Y, it will just continue and progress to the next index. And at the end of that loop, it will print the new hey with twice the amount of E's. There may be a more simplified way to do this, but this is how I got to work after struggling with it for a while. So I'll see you in the next video.